So now we're going to bring Lizzie and Jim together for a conversation about some of the memorable moments of the KBC Dublin Marathon and a chat about running generally. Now, Jim, you have been involved in the marathon for over 30 years. You must be immensely proud of what you've achieved with your team across those many decades of running in Dublin.
Indeed, yes. When we took over in 97, I think was the first year I was race director. You had less than 3,000 in the event. So, yeah, we're very proud of taking it from under 3,000 of an entry to with 35,000, looking for 25,000 places for 2020, and another 20,000 would have taken part in the race series. So it was an overnight success after 24 years, So, yeah, it took a lot of work to get it through, and we had a very dedicated team. Again, a lot of the group from the early days came from civil service harriers who were marathon runners themselves, and we became known as a group of marathon runners organising an event for runners rather than people who hadn't experienced it themselves. So we were, I suppose, early days. It was a real struggle to get the numbers up. But it was like the snowball then. When we got the snowball running and moving, we were able to add to it and make it bigger and bigger. And we're very proud of what it has turned out to be. And it's a target marathon for a lot of people now. It's on their bucket list to do before they get to a particular age bracket or whatever. So it's come a long way. The support that Lizzie alluded to earlier on was another key piece that we needed to add to the event. It was one thing getting numbers into it, but we felt the atmosphere around the course needed to be improved. And we felt that if we were able to improve the atmosphere, you get people out to say, gee, I'd love to do that next year. And it also helped the runners themselves. It doesn't shorten the 26.2 miles, but it certainly gave you a lift. And, as Lizzie said, there are areas where runners feel they get lifted and carried along by the support. So it was as much to build the support around the event that helped make it what it is today. So, yes, we are very, very proud of what it has turned out to be. But it took a lot of work from a dedicated team to get it to where it is now.
You have a huge responsibility, Jim, at the helm of that team. But how many people does it take to deliver the event each year?
Well, we have just under 1,500 volunteers out on the day itself. But again, you would have a few hundred in the RDS for the previous days as well. So I suppose on the weekend itself, you're touching on 2,000 volunteers that help us. And without their support, it wouldn't take place either. So we're indebted to all the clubs and football clubs and soccer clubs and scout troops and all that, we get support from. They've all helped. Without their support and whatever, it certainly wouldn't be possible. But again, I suppose going back a number of years ago, we did struggle to get volunteers for the event. And that's where the race jacket and whatever came from. We felt that we needed to give them something, as a thank you. And we approached Adidas at the time, and they gave us jackets for people. And since then, we certainly have been inundated with volunteer requests. And, we're full up for 2020 from a long way out. And hopefully that will continue. Again, with Ron Hill jackets for people last year go down very, very well. And it certainly is a small thank you that we give to people, but they appreciate that.
There's a huge sense of community, Lizzie, with the Dublin Marathon, from the volunteers to the staff to the runners themselves. It's part of what makes Dublin so special, really, as well as all of the runners and the spectators that are out on the course.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like a family on the day. You could turn to anybody at any level, any standard, and if they're running it, cheering them on over the finish line is just, it's goosebump stuff. I can't describe how happy myself and Mick Clohessy were to win those national titles, because we had a bucket list. You have a bucket list as a runner at this level, and we'd both been to the Olympics, we'd both been to European Championships, but neither of us had emulated what our coaches had done and won a national title. So to have Dick and Donny at the finish line of this wonderful national title that is there for Irish runners, it just was like this, the last mile, like this big community just cheering you on with love and joy, because everybody wants everybody to do it at all levels, and the money raised for charity and the different club singlets. Some people, they cross the finish line holding hands. It's just lovely. There's kids out with oranges, the whole thing. I passed the Nor Harriers and they were all out cheering, and they were going to be there for the day, and they were going to stay until the last person passed. And that's kind of, I suppose, the epitome of Dublin. It's just wonderful.
You talk about Dublin being a bucket list marathon, but I'd love to know, what's your first memory of Dublin Marathon before you were even a runner?
Well, I think it was probably around when I started running, because I was living in Dublin and I ran the Dublin Marathon the year I started running, which was maybe not the cleverest idea I ever had. So I did it all for about 3 or 4 months training. Gary Crossan was kind of coaching me, as in I went to one of his groups once a week. But I think the thing I remember most vividly was coming around Trinity, which is what we did. And there was just this wall, like you couldn't see where the people ended. And it was just magnificent. And I wouldn't have considered myself, really a runner at that point, but I was just part of this community of, a guy fell in front of me and we all stopped and helped him back up, and then we went on our way again, and that's kind of, I suppose, the community that you get in Dublin. It's very Irish, it's very friendly and open and lovely, and everyone just wants the best for everybody out there that day.
There's a definite sense of camaraderie, I think, from when you arrive at the expo to when you see that last finisher across the line on race day. And for you, Jim, in 2018, seeing Lizzie and Mick cross the line to be crowned national champions must have been very memorable for you yourself as a race director.
Oh, it certainly was. Again, Lizzie mentioned 2009 earlier on, where we started Marathon Mission, and the whole idea on that was to get Irish runners to concentrate on the marathon itself, with the view to getting the Irish times improving year on year, but to get them not only improving, but to get them into the top 10 and finish very high up in the KBC Dublin Marathon. And that was our aim way back then. And we spoke to the like of Lizzie and Mick and Sean Hare and Kevin Seward and all of those that are running, and they came out and thought the idea was very, very good. So that's where our aim was to get the Irish times down, but to get them to finish in high places in the marathon itself. And 2018 was a dream to see Lizzie and Mick achieve that. And again, Stephen last year coming in second. Our absolute dream is to have 2 Irish winners in it. We had that back in 2012, obviously, with Sean and Maria, when there wasn't an international field. But again, 2018 was a dream for us. And, to see Lizzie and Mick progress through what is Marathon Missions, and make the improvements, and see getting Lizzie over to Berlin the year before she did the qualifying. And again, little things like that we can help with, and they have, the support that we've got from the runners themselves has been great. But yeah, to see Irish runners coming in high places, that's the whole plan and the whole idea behind Marathon Mission. And it's great to see it come through. And I mean, on 2018, you couldn't get 2 better ambassadors for the event than Lizzie and Mick, because they're great. You just listened to Lizzie earlier on. She's buzzing even still after 2018.
I think she wants to jump in there very quickly.
I think Jim is being, well, of course he's being too modest because he's Jim, but I'm telling you now, I wouldn't be an Olympian sitting here if it wasn't for Jim and Dick Hooper with that marathon mission, because what they allowed us to do was they allowed us to meet together to kind of train together in squads. So I was training with Maria McCambridge, who was one of my idols, and to learn from them and to learn things about how to train for a marathon. And one memory that sticks in my head is Dick Hooper showing us doing a tempo run and what to do if you drop your bottle and you lose the group and how to get back up, those little things. And then also sending us away. Gothenburg half marathon was my first race out of the country, and Jim sorted that all out with the organizers. So, and constantly being there for support and helping me get into the elite race in Berlin and where I got my time. It's just always been like, we literally all just go, oh, I'll get Jim to sort this. And you email Jim and it's sorted. And you'll get a very short reply saying that's sorted now. And you just go, nice one, thanks a million. Or here's the email address of the man you need to contact. I've already told him you'll be in touch. Just that it's all sorted. It's on, and those are the little things that really, really help you when you are trying to get to that next level. And that's why we're seeing the Paul Pollocks and the Stephen Scullions and everybody come up. And when I saw the girls do it in 2012, who were on the marathon mission with me, I thought, well, why can't I do it too in 4 years' time? Why can't I'm in and around some of them in races? Why can't I get there? And then you can see it's a snowball effect. The girls, who are gung-ho for Tokyo are all like, oh, well, we're in and around, so it's snowballed now, and it's become this, I mean, look at the standard, like it's amazing. So I'm dying to see what the lads do in London. It's going to be exciting.
Jim, a lot of what Lizzie mentioned there obviously transfers to your own dedication and commitment to the Dublin Marathon, because we talked earlier about meticulous planning and the importance of it for our runners taking on their own virtual race. But your own work as the race director with your meticulous planning has seen the Dublin Marathon just go from strength to strength over the years. And I'd love to hear, what's the most inspiring part of your job as race director? What inspires you every day to work on the marathon and to remain in that position as race director for so many years?
I suppose on the morning of the event, one of my favourite things to do is when the podium for the national anthem is pulled out, to step up on that, look down to Holles Street, and you see all these faces looking back at you, and you say, well, I've had some little part to play in getting you to this start line. And, obviously that's size of field has grown over the years, and now we can't even see Holles Street with the number of people. But that's the sense of achievement when you see that. And one of the most emotional places to ever be is behind the finish line. And I like, when the presentations are over, that's where I spend the rest of the afternoon in there, and just the emotion, the thank you that you see on people's faces and the joy when they finish. That's what it's all about for me, to see them at the start and then to see them at the finish, the little joy, the crying to come when they come across the line. They're crying with joy they've actually finished it. So that, I suppose, certainly makes all the hard work worthwhile when you see that the beginning and the end on the day itself.
And then, of course, you have those 13 athletes who've done every single Dublin Marathon since it started. That, for me, is hugely inspiring as well, to see that they keep coming back every year and they've never missed a year. And we celebrated that last year as part of the 40th anniversary.
Oh, absolutely, indeed. And again, I do a little bit of a road show before the marathon, going to different groups, giving them a little bit of a talk on what they expect on marathon weekend and showing them slides of the start area and this is where you'll come in and so on and so forth. But one of the things, I finish off each of those talks by saying a thank you to them, because without people coming back and supporting the event, it's all right for me or our group to have mad ideas around the board table down in Denor Harriers, but without those people coming back and supporting us, it wouldn't have grown, and it wouldn't be possible to hold the event. So those 13 people are we're grateful that they're still there and coming back, but in the thousands people are coming back to the event. And a thank you to each and every one of those for continuing to support us.